Hello everyone, and I'm in my back garden in my veggie patch or kitchen garden, and here we have 4 lots of rhubarb. The first 3 plants there at the side are earlies, and this is early red, which I grew from seed some 20 years ago and have been dividing the crowns and growing them on ever since. And then we have champagne, which is an old variety, and moving on to quite a famous one, Timperley Early, which has lots of thin stems, but a lot of them. And it also has 2 flower heads. Now, I've kept them longer than I ordinarily would because I wanted to show you what they're like, and that I tend to cut them at the base. A lot of people just pull them up, but with my skills I tend to pull up half the plant, so whichever suits you. And I'll be cutting them now. Timperley Early won the Royal Horticultural Society's Award of Garden Merit, and the other plant here is a new one that I planted in August last year, and that is Fulton's Strawberry Surprise. It's got a very good reputation. Not only did it win the Award of Garden Merit, the RHS Award of Garden Merit, but it was also voted the most tastiest rhubarb by the Wisley's Trials. These are the seedlings that are hardening off and being protected by a cloche on really bad weather. And here I have the onions grown from seed, which I haven't succeeded with very much in the past. These are Bedfordshire Champion, Armstrong and Ailsa Craig, and Armstrong hasn't germinated very well. I haven't been very good at growing onions from seeds in the past, and when I first grew these for at least 3 weeks, I was trying to harden them off. They were flat on the ground, but with a bit of care, a lot of protection and time, they've started to grow to the point where almost I think I might be able to plant those out. This was planted, sown a couple of weeks later, so I'll leave that for a bit later. I've got a chance of actually growing some onions from seed this year. We'll see how that goes. And this is a radish called Raisin Butter, or Giant Butter, and that's going out in 2 pots right now. And here is some spring onions called Apache, which is a red spring onion. And there we have the leeks. This one here is Musselburgh, a good reliable leek. And here is Elephant. And there is Below Zero. And these will be hardening out now on the table so that they won't be protected at all during the night. And at the back of this little plot I have 3 lots of Charlotte potatoes which haven't come up yet, and then I have 2 lots of Nicola, which have got 2 potatoes in each tub, and the Charlottes have got 3 potatoes in each tub. The Nicola, incidentally, were planted after the Charlotte, but they seem to come up quicker than the Charlotte. In the front here I have the carrots, 4 types at the moment: Sugar Snacks, Sweet Candle, Nantes 5, and something I've not heard of before called Top Weight, which is meant to be doing very well in Australia, and it was a free seed, so I'll try it out. This metal thing here I got from a skip with permission, and I'll keep these metal, I have to call them things, I really don't know what to call them, to keep the foxes off and my wonderful cats, and later on I'll have to set up something that will protect the plants as they grow. And behind the potatoes are the blackberries, the comfrey and the bird bath. This is the Caraca Black blackberry, and you can see it's coming into bud now, coming into flower. And this is the new Triple Crown blackberry, and I'll just twist around in this tiny space, and this is another Caraca Black blackberry, and as you can see it has a little blackberry coming through. So now I'm going to show you some of the blossom from some of the fruit trees, and then I'll show you a few more seedlings, and then I'll take you to the allotment. Well, the blossom from the plum trees has faded now, and the cherry is now coming into bloom, and this is called Sunburst, and it's absolutely beautiful. In the days 30 years ago when I planted it, I didn't know about dwarf rooting stock, and this is on dwarf rooting stock, but I didn't know you get different types. But it is absolutely wonderful, and I do get lovely sweet cherries, but the brown rot does set in when they get to a certain stage of ripeness. I still get some cherries from them. And this is a view of the cherry tree from the upstairs window. It is absolutely beautiful. And this is what the quince looks like in full bloom. It's lovely, not as blousy as the cherry. The only problem is it's still chilly, very windy, and I'm not sure there are many pollinating insects around. And here I have a whole lot of seedlings hardening off slowly. And over there I have celeriac, which is in very small modules, and I'll be transplanting them into bigger modules soon. I have Swiss chard here, which I've got 8 of. I grew 8 Ford Hook Giants last year, and that was too many, so I thought I'd grow a fewer this year. But then I got some free seed for the Vulcan Rhubarb chard, so I'm back to 8 again. Maybe I can give 1 or 2 away. Over here I have cabbage, which is a lovely big tender cabbage, and they seem to be doing quite well. In the front I have the tomatoes, and I wanted to only grow 4 tomatoes per variety, and I've got 6 varieties, but some, such as Coeur de Bouet, seem to grow really well, so I've got 6 of those. So I've got green zebra, one of my favourite, tangy tomatoes, not sour but tangy, one brandy boy, sun gold. Over here, Costoluto di Fiorentino, red zebra, and the 4 main sun gold. Last year I grew Tigerella because it had such a good write-up, and it was tasteless in my opinion, so I'm trying to grow the red zebra, equivalent of my favourite green zebra, and I'm hoping that that will taste good as green zebra, and will also look good in a salad bowl. I'll film this as quickly as possible because the light is changing and I think it's going to rain again. The good news is that it's slightly warmer than before. At the back I have some kohlrabi, which I've not grown before, and in the front I have Mozart cabbage here and some calabrese, and there's art shades of flowers, calendula, the marigold, which I potted up when they were a bit too big, so they're looking a bit dicey. And over there I have some more marigolds or calendula, orange flash, which is a smaller plant. I also have little seedlings of calendula Indian Prince, which is quite a tall plant, maybe 2 feet, and very intense orange. Orange isn't my favourite colour, but when you want a little bit of brightness in the garden, these calendulas do really well. And I saw that at Wisley a couple of years ago, and it looked really beautiful. There's a cosmos that is overcrowded and should have been thinned out, and then Lavatera ruby regis, a lovely deep pink annual, which I like to grow. I have claret, which I don't want to take the top off, it is a bit tender, and tender stem, which is a lovely vegetable I grew last year, which is like green sprouting broccoli for the summer. And then the cabbage that I've not done very well with, which is Golden Acre. And here is my Chilean guava, which I've just repotted into a slightly bigger pot. I've had this for 3 or 4 years, and in winter I'm not sure it's totally hardy, but if in doubt I put it in the very leaky garage. When the weather was really bad I put a fleece around it, and it's come through beautifully now. I read somewhere that you can take cuttings at this time of the year, just take some little sticks and put them in water. I've just done that today. They are hardwood cuttings, so I have my doubts as to whether they'll work or not, but I'll give it a go and see if we can grow some Chilean guava plants from there. If you look here closely, you can see that they're already starting to sprout at the top. And finally, these are my little seedling lettuces. I can't grow them indoors because even in the unheated spare room it's too warm for them. They'll grow 2 leaves and stop there. So I've learnt, for me, I have to grow them outdoors. When they feel ready to come up they will, and then I will simply pot these into little modules and grow them on. And now to the allotment. And these are the 13 bags of topsoil I got yesterday, and I got them via Epsom Free Cycle, and it's absolutely broken my back to get them. But you know, it's very good soil. It really is top quality, with the odd bit of root inside. There may be some more to bring, but you know, I've had enough and my back can't take any more, but I am very pleased with this. And this is where some of that topsoil has gone, At the back I've got a row of pots with their bottoms cut out where the tomatoes are going to go. This is a second row, so that's ready to take the tomatoes. And in the front there'll be some other vegetables, possibly those little onion seedlings if they survive. And I've also put some topsoil on this little plot where I've just planted the tayberry. I will eventually have to put posts on either end and string across some wires, but not for now. That will be another winter job. And here are a few they're meant to be lettuce, they're meant to be little Gemma maize, but the whole packet has turned out to be something completely different. But I'll plant them and see what they turn out to be. And here at the back of plot 1 is the asparagus bed, small little bed, and there's also an awful lot of weeds here, creeping potentilla. I had covered this over winter with a permeable membrane, and I had put down a lot of well-rotted manure to feed them. It's very difficult to get this weed out, but if I can't dig it out, which might damage the asparagus, I'll just cut the tops off. And now for me to have my first harvest of asparagus. And there it is. Well, that's the end of today's video. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe, press the thumbs up button, and I hope to see you soon.